Hello everyone. I'm Dr. Rizwana, working as Professor of Physics in Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In my last video, I have discussed in detail about fiber optics technology. There we have discussed about construction, principle of optical fibers, and acceptance angle, acceptance cone, numerical aperture, and also we have discussed about different types of optical fibers, where we have discussed in detail about classification based on materials used to make optical fibers, and second category, classification based on number of modes of propagation possible inside the core medium, and the third category, which is most important category, is classification based on refractive index profile of the core. So in my previous videos, I have discussed in detail about all these topics. Now today, our topic of discussion is attenuation in optical fibers, and then advantages of optical fibers, how these optical fibers are they have most attractive features compared to normal cable communication. And then in the end, we are going to study in detail about optical fiber communication systems. So today we are going to cover attenuation advantages in optical fiber communication systems. So now we are going to start our lecture. Attenuation in optical fibers. So here, what you will observe here is we have seen that propagation of information through optical fibers results in negligible loss. So for that, we have taken care that principle of optical fiber is total internal reflection. So what is total internal reflection? In total internal reflection, we make our information which is in optical form to travel only inside the core medium by suffering total internal reflection at core cladding interface. Suppose this is my core, and then it is followed by cladding. This is our core and cladding. Once we send our information inside the core, this is our core medium, okay, whose refractive index is N1, and then we have cladding, whose refractive index is N2. So we have to make sure that our light, it should not enter cladding. It should transmit only inside the core medium. When we launch our light inside the core medium, when it enters the core and when it strikes this core cladding interface, this is known as core cladding interface. So when it goes and strikes core cladding interface, it should get reflected back into the core medium. Again, it should suffer multiple reflection at the interface and it will come out of the other end of optical fiber. Okay, so this is total internal reflection. And for that, what we have to do, we have discussed in your previous videos. For that, we have to maintain that angle of incidence at this core cladding interface should be greater than the critical angle. And what is our critical angle? We have seen that critical angle for a given optical fiber, how it is given. It is given as sine inverse of refractive index of cladding by refractive index of core. So we can find critical angle for a given optical fiber. And so once we know the critical angle, what we'll do, when this ray goes and strikes our core cladding interface, it should strike at angle greater than critical angle. Then only this light, it gets reflected back into the same medium. So next we have seen that in acceptance angle, how to make that angle of incidence greater than critical angle. For that, what we'll do, we'll define one maximum angle of incidence. That maximum angle of incidence is called acceptance angle. So suppose this is our fiber axis. So here we'll define one maximum angle of incidence, which is called as alpha I maximum. So this angle of incidence, when we make our light go and strike interface, it will make angle equal to critical angle. It means that light ray goes along the interface. So always we have to see that we have to launch our light at angles less than this acceptance angle. For that, we made one cone by rotating this acceptance angle about the fiber axis. Then after that, we have seen numerical aperture. What is numerical aperture? It is also dependent on the refractive indices of core and cladding. And of course, it is numerically, it is equal to sine of acceptance angle. Then of course, so we are taking so much care so that our light, It should not go into cladding. What happens if our light goes into cladding? When our light goes into cladding, if it gets refracted into the cladding, then our information will be lost. As I told in my previous sessions, if you are sending any information through optical fibers, it can be my voice, it can be figure, it can be objects, all this called as analog data. But that information, it has to be converted into optical form. And when you convert any type of information into optical form, it consists of many light rays. Not single light ray, but that information, it consists of many light rays. And you have to make sure that all those light rays, when you are sending them inside core, they should enter core, and when they go and strike core cladding interface, they should get reflected back into the same medium. So we have to take care of all these things. And one more thing is, we have seen that because there are different light rays, these different light rays, depending upon their angle of incidence or depending upon their launching angle, they may take different paths to reach output end. And we have to make sure that all these light rays, they should take same time to reach output end. Then there won't be any problem of dispersion. What is dispersion? When different light rays take different times to reach output, and this is known as broadening of light signals. So dispersion. So that problem, we have to see that there is no problem of dispersion when you are making all these light rays travel inside the core medium. So we have taken care, like we have seen in gradient index fibers, we are able to overcome that problem of dispersion. What we have done in gradient index fibers, we try to modify refractive index profile of core medium by making refractive index. I think in my previous session, I told you in gradient index fibers, what we have done. So we made refractive index. We made refractive index of core. So this is our core and this is our cladding. And we know that always will maintain N1 slightly greater than N2. And in step index fibers, what we have done, when we come to this interface, core cladding interface, there is sudden decrease in the refractive index of core, and it will match with the refractive index of cladding. But in case of graded index fibers, how we made this refractive index profile at the center of the core, refractive index is maximum, and when we move away from the center, refractive index is gradually decreasing, and then at the interface it will become equal to refractive index of the cladding. Okay, so gradual decrease will be there, not like abrupt decrease at the interface as we have seen in step index fibers. And due to this refractive index profile, even though your light rays, they are taking different paths, even though if you have multi-mode propagation, problem of dispersion we are able to overcome. So we have taken so much care in order to avoid any loss when information is being transmitted through optical fibers. But still, we'll observe that there are some losses associated with optical fibers. Still, there are some losses associated with optical fibers, and that losses, when your information is being transmitted through optical fibers, whatever power loss is being observed, that particular power loss is nothing but attenuation. So what is our attenuation? Attenuation is when our optical signals are transmitted through the fiber, there are some losses associated with information propagation. So that power loss is nothing but attenuation. So it is the term used for power loss during propagation of optical signals through optical fiber. It is also called as fiber loss. Now we are going to see why we'll have such losses when information is being transmitted through optical fibers. Now, taking this attenuation in optical fibers, generally we'll classify them into two types. One is transmission loss and other one is bending loss. Now we are going to study in detail what is transmission loss and what is bending loss. Now, so first we'll start with transmission loss. I think from the name itself we can make out what is transmission loss. So as you can see in this figure, if you see this figure, this is our core medium, and of course this is our cladding medium, and we know that light, it should get transmitted only inside the core medium. Now during the transmission of signals through optical fibers, if we have any attenuation, it is called as transmission loss. And again, this transmission loss, it is categorized into, it is classified into three categories. First category is scattering loss, and then we have two more categories. Second one is absorption loss, and third one, of course, next is bending or distortion loss. So we are going to study in detail about these losses. First, we are going to discuss about transmission loss. In that transmission loss, we have two types. One is scattering loss, and other one is absorption loss. So what is scattering loss? Now, if you see this figure, now usually our information, it is being transmitted only inside the core medium. Now, what we'll observe here is there is no perfect crystal in nature. So, there is no perfect crystal in nature. What do you mean by ideal crystal or ideal material or perfect crystal? So, perfect crystal will not have any defects. I think already we know about defects. So, what are those defects? We can have any vacancies, or if we have any change in the arrangement of atoms inside a crystal. So if you have such any discrepancies, then it will lead to defects. I think we have studied many defects, Scott-Frankel defects, and volume defects, surface defects. So we have studied plane defects, line dislocation, and then we have studied about screw dislocation. So all this will come under defects. Generally, we won't have any crystal in nature which is perfect without any defects. So if you have any material, at least it will have few defects. So here our core medium, whether it is made up of glass or whether it is made up of plastic, so it consists of some defects. So if you can see here, so here we'll have some defects. So what are those defects? It can be a vacancy. Vacancy means an atom is missing, or an extra atom coming and occupying the void space in between the atoms, or there is any slipping of planes, okay, or if you have any cracks or any voids. So such all those things, they will come under defects. And apart from these defects, what you will observe here is, as we know that we have to maintain refractive index of core slightly greater than cladding. So when we are maintaining refractive index of core slightly greater than cladding, already we have seen that even though if your core and cladding, they are made up of same material. Suppose if we take all glass fibers, in all glass fibers, both our core and cladding, they are made up of glass. So in all glass fibers, even though if N1 and N2, they are made up of glass, we have to maintain refractive index of core slightly greater than cladding. So for that, what we'll do, we'll add some dopants. We'll add some impurities like boron, germanium, phosphorus. So we in this core medium will have extra impurity. So these impurities, or these are called as dopants. And why we'll add these dopants? We add these dopants in order to modify refractive index of core. Why? Because we have to maintain refractive index of core slightly greater than cladding. So here now we have two types of scattering centers inside the core medium. First one is defects, okay, which may occur during manufacturing of crystal. And second one, dopants. These dopants are added to the core medium in order to modify its refractive index. Now these defects and these dopants, so they'll act as density fluctuations within a fiber. So they'll act as heterohomogeneities. They will act as scattering centers. And as you can see in this figure, now if your light, if it does not strike those defects or dopants, if it goes and strikes the interface, it gets smoothly reflected back inside the core medium. But once your light goes and strikes this particular defects or dopants, now it will get scattered. As you can see, it is getting scattered, and there are chances that this light, it may get refracted into the cladding. So there are chances that this light, it may get refracted into the cladding, it may get scattered into the cladding by these heterogeneities like defects and dopants. And we know that once our light goes into cladding, our information is lost. So such type of loss is nothing but scattering loss. So what is our scattering loss? So here we have seen that in case of scattering loss, our core medium, it's not perfect. It consists of defects and dopants. And these, once your light propagating through the core medium goes and strikes these defects and dopants, then they'll scatter some of the light into the cladding. And once our light goes into cladding, it will get lost. So such type of loss, it is called as scattering loss. And there is one more name given to the scattering loss. It is also called as Rayleigh scattering. So it is called as Rayleigh scattering. And what you will observe, and as you can see here, when light is scattered by small spherical volume of variant refractive, here we are talking about dopants and particles, bubbles, droplets or density fluctuations, so all those defects. So when light gets scattered, then it is called as Rayleigh scattering. And already as I have discussed, so when there are fluctuations in refractive index, when we add dopants or when we have any density and compositional variations like defect, then scattering occurs. And one important point what we have to understand here is whatever scattering losses we get, okay, those losses, they are inversely proportional to 4th power of wavelength of light that is being transmitted inside the core medium. So due to Rayleigh scattering, usually scattering loss, it depends upon the wavelength of light. And how it is related? It is inversely proportional to 4th power of wavelength of light that is propagating through the core medium. So this is about our scattering loss. So attenuation is nothing but power loss during propagation of information through optical fibers, and that power flow, generally it is classified into transmission loss and distortion loss. First we are trying to discuss transmission loss. So information loss occur during transmission, and in that again we have two categories. First one is scattering loss and second one is absorption loss. So in that first category, in a transmission loss, there is nothing but scattering loss we have discussed. Now we'll go to second one, that is nothing but absorption loss. So coming to absorption loss, what you will observe here is, as from the name itself, you can make out that in absorption of wavelengths of light, few wavelengths of light that is being transmitted through the core medium, it is called as absorption loss. So as our information, it is in optical form. So we know that if we take optical signals or light signals, so depending upon their wavelengths, you will have certain losses. So it can be ultraviolet light signals or ultraviolet radiations transmitted through core medium. It can be infrared radiation. So depending upon the wavelength of light that is transmitted through the core medium, we'll have different absorption loss. So what is absorption loss? When certain wavelengths of light are transmitted through the core material, then we'll observe that there'll be this core material, it consists of atoms, molecules, and in atoms we have particles like electrons. So they have this tendency to absorb light energy. So that particular process, it is called as absorption. So all these atoms, so particles like electrons, they have tendency of absorbing optical energy. So when they absorb that optical energy from the information, such type of loss, it is called as absorption loss. Now we are going to study again subclassification in this absorption loss. It is of 3 types. First one is ultraviolet absorption, next is infrared absorption, and then third one is ion resonance absorption. Now what is ultraviolet absorption? Now from the name itself, we can make out that in ultraviolet absorption, here what type of wavelength of light is being transmitted? Ultraviolet radiation. So when we have our information whose wavelength comes under ultraviolet, then what happens? See, within the atoms we have electrons, and these electrons, they will gain energy from those ultraviolet radiations. And what happens when they gain energy? Obviously, see, electrons without energy, they will be present in valence band, whereas electron with energy, they will be present in conduction band. First are electrons, they are in valence band, and once they absorb this ultraviolet radiations, then what happens to that particular electrons? They will jump to conduction band. What do you mean by jumping? They'll gain energy and your electrons will get ionized. So ionization of electrons is nothing but gaining energy by optical absorption, and they'll take part in conduction. So such type of absorption, it is called as ultraviolet absorption. Then we'll go to second type of absorption. Coming to second type of absorption, we have infrared absorption. Now here we can make out that here we have transmission of infrared radiations. So when infrared radiations are being transmitted, now electrons won't get affected, but because of this infrared radiations, atoms as a whole will get affected. Now we know that inside the crystal we have atoms like this, arrangement of atoms. Now these atoms, they will suffer random mechanical vibrations. So they will start vibrating. So they'll undergo mechanical vibrations. Okay, so they are agitated. So when these atoms, when they absorb these infrared radiations, and what happens when your atoms are randomly vibrating like this, your core medium, it will get heated up. It means that part of infrared energy, it is converted into heat energy. So now next, coming to third category. What is our third category? Ion resonance absorption. So what is ion resonance absorption? Now what you will observe here is, see, when we are making core medium, there is a possibility that some bubbles may get trapped inside the core medium during manufacturing of core medium. So there will be trapping of some bubbles. Bubbles is nothing but so possibility of water molecules being trapped. And we know that this water, it may get ionized into H plus and OH minus. And these negatively ionized OH minus ion, what it will do, it will try to absorb some of the radiation energy. So such type of losses occur. It is called as ion resonance absorption. So absorption loss. So what is absorption loss? In absorption loss, when your light is being transmitted, depending upon what type of wavelength of light is being transmitted, some of the energy will be absorbed by the core medium. So that is nothing but our absorption loss. In this, we have three types. First one is ultraviolet absorption. When your core medium absorbs ultraviolet radiation, then what happens to electrons? Electrons of core medium, they'll get ionized, they'll gain energy. Whereas when this infrared radiation is being absorbed by atoms of the core medium, then they are thermally agitated and your core medium will get heated up. Whereas here in the core medium, if we have any trapping of water molecules, then we have this ionized ion. This ion will also absorb certain radiation energy. So this is about our absorption loss. So we have discussed about two types in transmission loss. One is scattering loss, and so if we take this transmission loss, we have one scattering loss and the second one is absorption loss. Now we'll go to second main classification. So as we have seen that in attenuation, first one is transmission, and coming to second one, bending loss, bending or distortion loss. Now, what is bending or distortion loss? We try to show it in our figure, bending or distortion loss. Now, if you see this bending or distortion loss, now, usually if we take our optical fibers, these optical fibers, they should be straight like this. Suppose I have taken my core medium. If your core medium or if your optical fiber is deviating from this straight line configuration, what do you mean by deviating from the straight line configuration? If there are any bends in optical fiber. If there are any bends in optical fiber. Now, what type of bends we can have? Now, we try to show it in these two figures. First type of bends, they are macroscopic, and second type of bends are microscopic bends. So macroscopic and microscopic bends. Now if you take macroscopic bends, now if you see this bend, it has got larger radius compared to fiber diameter. So as a whole, your optical fiber is bent. So here there is a possibility of bending of whole optical fibers, and here bend radius is very large. So here in which complete fiber undergoes bends. So what will happen when you have bends? So as you can see at these bends, if you see this figure, what is happening when your light goes and strike these bends? Now it will go into cladding, it gets scattered. So at these bends, that angle of incidence may not be greater than critical angle. So your angle of incidence at the interface will change. And if your angle of incidence is less than your critical angle, then obviously light, it will go into cladding. And once it goes into cladding, it will get lost. So this angle of incidence here will not be so greater than our critical angle theta c. So if it is not greater than critical angle, then what happens? Light, it goes into cladding and then it gets lost. Okay, so this is about macroscopic. And what about microscopic bends now? During manufacturing of core medium, if there are slight bends inside the core medium, see here, if there are any slight bends inside the core medium, here bending radius is very, very small. Here also the same thing, if your light goes and strikes those micro bends, again, so its angle of incidence may not be greater than critical angle, then obviously what will happen, it may go to the cladding and it will get lost. And how much loss is being occurred due to bending or distortion of optical fibers, it depend upon bend radius. What is the radius of the bend? So depending upon bend radius, loss is going to change. So here in bending or distortion loss, two types. First one is macroscopic, where your complete fiber undergoes bend. And then we have this microscopic bend, where core and cladding undergoes slight bends at its surface. So what will happen? So here their angle of incidence will not be greater than critical angle, then it gets reflected into the cladding. And there is, so as you can see, there is one important point here. The optical power which is being lost during propagation of light or scattered out of the fiber, it depends upon bend radius. So it depends upon the radius of the bend, and that loss coefficient due to bending or distortion loss, it is given by this formula, where alpha b is loss due to loss coefficient which is due to bending, it is equal to C exponential. Then we have ratio minus R by RC, where C is a bending constant, and here RC it is given by A NA square. A is our radius of the fiber. A is radius of the fiber, and of course R is our bend radius. R is bend radius, RC is radius of the fiber, and of course NA is our numerical aperture. So here bends, if bend radius is very large, then we'll have heavy losses. So we should try to avoid such bend radius. So here how much loss is being occurred, it depends completely on the radius of the bend. So we should try to avoid such bends. So we have seen, so this is all we have discussed about attenuation in optical fibers. We have seen it depends upon if any dopants and defects are there inside the core medium, or if depending upon the wavelength of light being propagated inside the core medium, and also depends upon if there are any bends when your whole fiber itself bends, or if you have any small bends at the surface of core and cladding. Depending upon radius of bends also you will have loss of information. So such type of loss, it is nothing but our attenuation. So I hope it is clear about attenuation in optical fibers. Now how to measure that attenuation? So when we have such loss, how to measure that loss? So in order to measure that loss, there is one particular unit. And what is that unit called as? It is called as decibel. So decibel is the unit for measuring losses in optical fibers, or measuring attenuation in optical fiber. And how that decibel is given, actually it's a logarithmic unit. And how it is given? It's the log of ratio of input power that is launched into the fiber to the output power that is received at the end of the fiber. So PI is input power or input information which we are sending through the fiber, and P output is the output power that is coming out from the other end of the fiber. And how this attenuation coefficient is given, as you can see, it's a logarithmic unit, log of, it's a ratio. What is that ratio? Power input by power output. So 10 log power input by power output. And what is the unit? Decibel. And there is one more parameter. This is particular attenuation cost. Its units is decibel per kilometer. For that, in denominator we have L. L is nothing but the length of fiber. So it can be either decibel or it can be decibel per kilometer. So you can have your loss coefficient measured in decibel or decibel per kilometer. And what is the difference here? In decibel per kilometer, we are going to have length of the fiber in the denominator. So it is the standard unit for measuring attenuation in particular optical fibers. So today I am going to stop my session here. So we have discussed today in our video, we have discussed about attenuation in optical fibers. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.